First contact deception. The Galactic Assembly's Grand Hall buzzed with anticipation. Located in the heart of the Andromeda Gateway Station, the massive chamber housed representatives from over 500 spacefaring civilizations. Today marked a historic occasion, the discovery of a new species that had achieved faster-than-light travel. Grand Speaker Vexthor, a towering figure with iridescent scales that shifted colors with each movement, raised all four of his arms for silence. The chamber's adaptive acoustics dampened until only the soft hum of environmental systems remained. Esteemed members of the Assembly, his voice resonated through the hall. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected an emerging civilization entering the galactic stage. They call themselves humans. The holoprojector activated, displaying what appeared to be crude spacecraft emerging from a solar system in the Orion Arm. The vessels looked remarkably basic, blocky shapes with visible external components, a far cry from the sleek organic designs favored by most advanced civilizations. Ambassador Krell of the Centaurian Dominion let out a harsh laugh, their crystalline form vibrating with amusement. Surely these are civilian vessels. Where are their warships? These are their primary fleet vessels, Vexthor replied, his scales shifting to a bemused purple. Their largest ship is approximately 1/4 the size of our standard diplomatic shuttles. The chamber erupted in laughter and dismissive chatter. Several representatives began recording the presentation, no doubt planning to share this entertainment with their homeworlds. The notion that any species would attempt interstellar travel in such primitive vessels seemed absurd. In a quiet corner of the observation deck above the chamber, Dr. Elena Santos of the Earth Diplomatic Corps watched the proceedings with careful attention. Her dark eyes reflected the holographic displays as she studied the reactions of each species, her neural implant quietly recording and analyzing every detail. Interesting, isn't it? A soft voice spoke beside her. Admiral James Chen materialized from the shadows, his stealth suit deactivating. They're all focusing on exactly what we want them to see. Elena nodded, her fingers unconsciously brushing the quantum computer interfaced with her cerebral cortex. The anthropological division predicted this response with 98.7% accuracy. Their pride blinds them to the possibility of deliberate deception. Below, Vexthor continued his presentation, displaying scans that showed apparently primitive propulsion systems and basic shielding technology. The Assembly's amusement grew with each revelation. They've requested full membership in the Assembly, Vexthor announced, his scales now a condescending shade of orange. While they barely meet our technological prerequisites, the Charter requires us to consider all applications. Elena checked the chronometer embedded in her retinal display. It's time, she said quietly. Admiral Chen nodded and activated his neural link to the waiting Earth fleet. Far beyond the Assembly's detection range, hidden in the quantum foam of subspace, humanity's true fleet waited. Ships that didn't rely on conventional propulsion or shields, but instead bent the very fabric of space-time to their will. Vessels powered by artificial quantum singularities and controlled by hybrid AI systems that were symbiotically linked to their human crews. Elena stood and straightened her midnight blue uniform. The simple garment contained more computing power than most alien battlecruisers, but to their eyes, it would appear as primitive cloth. Ready to shatter some illusions? Chen asked with a slight smile. Not yet, Elena replied, her expression carefully neutral. Let them maintain their assumptions for now. The longer they underestimate us, the more time we have to properly assess potential threats. She paused, watching as another wave of laughter swept through the chamber below. After all, humanity didn't survive 3 world wars and a synthetic intelligence uprising by revealing our advantages too soon. Fair point, Chen agreed. Though I must admit, I'm looking forward to seeing their faces when they realize those primitive ships they're mocking are just decoys packed with more sensors than their entire defense networks. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Patience, Admiral. The best deceptions are revealed at precisely the right moment. She activated her neural interface, connecting to Earth Command's quantum network. For now, let's play the part they expect. A young, naive species grateful for their guidance. As they prepared to make humanity's official entrance, Elena reflected on the irony of the situation. The assembly laughed at the size of Earth's ships, never considering that miniaturization was a sign of advancement, not limitation. They mocked the visible external components, not realizing they were studying precisely what humanity wanted them to see. In time, they would learn that humans had mastered the art of appearing weak when they were strong, of seeming primitive when they were advanced. But for now, the deception would continue, and humanity would watch, and learn, and prepare. After all, in the grand game of galactic politics, the best players were those no one saw coming. The silent strike. 3 months after humanity's introduction to the Galactic Assembly, the Andromeda Gateway Station hummed with nervous energy. Reports of devastating pirate attacks along major trade routes had sparked an emergency session. The massive chamber that had once echoed with laughter at humanity's expense now bristled with tension. Grand Speaker Vexthor's scales had taken on a disturbed gray hue as he addressed the assembly. The situation has become critical. The Shadowclaw Raiders have destroyed 12 convoy groups in the past week alone. Their advanced cloaking technology renders them virtually undetectable until the moment they strike. Holographic displays showed the aftermath of the latest attack, the scattered debris of merchant vessels and their escort ships drifting in the void. The Raiders' signature was clear. No survivors, no warnings, just destruction that seemed to materialize from nowhere. Dr. Elena Santos sat in humanity's modest delegation area, her neural interface quietly processing the tactical data being shared. Through it, she could feel the constant presence of Earth's quantum defense network analyzing attack patterns, calculating probabilities, and formulating responses. The Centaurian Defense Fleet has lost 3 battle groups attempting to protect the trade lanes. Ambassador Krull reported, their crystalline form clouded with distress. These pirates somehow possess technology that surpasses our best stealth detection systems. Elena exchanged a subtle glance with Admiral Chen, who sat beside her. Their neural interfaces synchronized momentarily, sharing a burst of encrypted data. The patterns were clear. The Raiders weren't using advanced technology at all. They were exploiting fundamental flaws in the Assembly's standardized detection protocols. Perhaps, Elena spoke, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. The Earth Federation could assist in this matter. A ripple of dismissive murmurs spread through the Assembly. Ambassador Krull's crystalline form flickered with what passed for amusement among their species. While we appreciate the offer, dealing with these raiders requires significant technological capabilities. Your vessels would be at even greater risk than ours. Elena smiled softly. Nevertheless, we would like to volunteer to escort the next merchant convoy through the affected sector. Out of the question, Vexthor interrupted, his scales shifting to a concerned purple. We cannot in good conscience allow your ships to be destroyed. The raiders would tear through your primitive shields in seconds. We understand the risks. Admiral Chen spoke up. We merely ask for one opportunity to prove our worth as Assembly members. Allow us to escort a single convoy. If we fail, you need never consider our offers of assistance again. The Assembly chambers erupted in heated debate. Elena and Chen waited patiently as the various species argued. Finally, after nearly an hour of discussion, Vexthor raised his arms for silence. Very well, he announced. If Earth insists on this foolish gesture, we will permit it. But know that we warned you of the consequences. 3 days later, a massive merchant convoy assembled at the edge of the disputed sector. 20 huge cargo vessels, each one dwarfing the 3 small Earth ships that had volunteered as escorts. The Earth vessels looked even more primitive up close, their hulls marked with visible seams and external sensor arrays that any advanced civilization would have integrated seamlessly. In the command center of the lead Earth ship, Elena stood beside Captain Sarah Martinez, watching as the convoy entered the danger zone. Through their neural interfaces, they were connected not just to each other and their crew, but to every system on all 3 escort vessels. Raiders detected, Martinez announced calmly. 6 vessels, using quantum phase shifting to remain just slightly out of sync with normal spacetime. Clever, but predictable. Elena nodded. They're using the same attack pattern as before, preparing to emerge from phase shift in 3, 2, 1. The raiders appeared simultaneously, their massive ships seeming to materialize from nothing around the convoy. Their weapons powered up, targeting systems locking onto the merchant vessels. But in that same instant, the primitive external sensors on the Earth ships pulsed with energy. Quantum phase locks, technology humanity had mastered decades ago, reached out and grabbed the raider ships, forcing them to remain in normal space. Target lock confirmed, Martinez reported with a small smile. Initiating containment protocol. The external components on the Earth ships that had drawn so much mockery from the assembly suddenly detached, revealing themselves as autonomous drone platforms. They moved with impossible speed, taking up precise positions around the raider vessels. Before the pirates could react, quantum fields sprang up between the drones, creating an inescapable geometric prison around each raider ship. The pirates fired their weapons, but the energy was absorbed and redirected, strengthening the quantum fields. All raider vessels contained, Martinez announced. No damage to convoy ships. No casualties. Elena opened a channel to the stunned merchant vessels. This is Dr. Santos of the Earth Federation. The threat has been neutralized. We will escort you to your destination, after which we will deliver the captured raiders to assembly authorities for prosecution. The quantum computer interfaced with her cerebral cortex registered hundreds of shock transmissions being sent from the merchant ships to their homeworlds. The assembly's perception of humanity would change significantly after this, though they still wouldn't grasp the full extent of Earth's capabilities. Should we show them how we detected the raiders' phase shifting? Martinez asked. Elena shook her head. Not yet. Let them wonder. Let them start to question their assumptions about us, but keep them guessing about how much more we might be hiding. As the convoy resumed its journey, Elena reflected on humanity's path forward. Today's demonstration would earn them respect, but it would also bring increased scrutiny. The game of hidden strengths and calculated revelations was becoming more complex. But then, complexity was something humans had always excelled at managing. In a galaxy that sought standardization and conformity, humanity's greatest weapon was its unpredictability. And they had only begun to reveal what they were truly capable of. Breaking point. The mood in the Galactic Assembly had shifted dramatically in the weeks following the Raider incident. Gone were the dismissive laughs and condescending remarks about humanity's ships. Instead, suspicious whispers echoed through the crystalline corridors of the Andromeda Gateway Station. Admiral Chen stood at the observation window of the Earth delegation's office, watching the constant flow of ships moving through the nearby quantum gate array. His neural interface quietly logged the increasing number of military vessels among them. The Centaurian Dominion has doubled their patrol fleet presence in the past week, Dr. Elena Santos reported, her eyes closed as she processed the data streams flowing through her quantum computer interface. The Meridian Collective has recalled their entire third battle group from the Outer Rim. They're scared, Chen responded, his reflection grim in the transparent aluminum window. Not of what we did, but of what we might be capable of doing. The door chimed, and Captain Martinez entered, her usual confident stride tempered by concern. We have a problem. The Arcturus Confederation is demanding we share our quantum phase detection technology. They're claiming it's a violation of assembly regulations to withhold critical defense capabilities. Elena opened her eyes, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Interesting. They're not even questioning whether what we showed them was our actual detection method. That's not all, Martinez continued. Long-range sensors just detected a Centaurian battle group conducting exercises less than a light-year from Earth's solar system. Chen turned from the window, his expression hardening. A show of force. They're trying to pressure us into compliance. The quantum computer network linking the three officers pulsed with shared data and analysis. Earth's true defensive capabilities remained hidden, but the increasing military presence around human space was concerning. Not because it threatened Earth. Humanity's real defenses made that impossible, but because it threatened the careful balance they'd been maintaining. The office's holoprojector activated, displaying Grand Speaker Vex Thor's imposing figure. His scales had taken on an aggressive red hue. "Dr. Santos, your presence is required in the assembly chamber immediately. The Council of Elder Species has called an emergency session regarding Earth's technological discrepancies." Elena exchanged glances with her colleagues. The Council of Elder Species rarely intervened in assembly matters. Their involvement suggested the situation was escalating faster than anticipated. "Of course, Grand Speaker," she replied smoothly. "I would be honored to address the Council's concerns." The massive assembly chamber was packed when Elena arrived. The usual seating arrangement had been altered. The elder species representatives now occupied the central platforms, their ancient and massive forms dominating the space. High Elder Xulin, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate crystalline matrix, spoke first. Its thoughts translated directly into the minds of all present. "We have observed concerning patterns in Earth's behavior. Your technological capabilities appear to far exceed your declared level of advancement." Elena stood calmly before them, her neural interface processing the emotional signatures of every species present. Fear, suspicion, and anger dominated the readings. "With respect, High Elder," she responded, "we have never declared any specific level of technological advancement. The Assembly made its own assumptions about our capabilities. Assumptions you deliberately encourage." Ambassador Krell's crystalline form vibrated with accusation. "Your ships, your equipment, everything about your presentation to the Assembly was designed to deceive." Elena's smile remained diplomatic. "We presented ourselves exactly as we are. That others chose to see primitive design rather than efficient minimalism, external components rather than modular adaptation, was not our doing." The chamber erupted in angry shouts and demands. High Elder Xullin's energy form pulsed with authority, restoring order. "The issue before us is clear. Earth must submit to a full technological inspection and share all defensive capabilities with the Assembly or face sanctions." Through her neural interface, Elena felt the quantum alert from Earth Command. The Centaurian battle group near Earth had powered up their weapons. Similar alerts came in from across human space, multiple alien fleets moving into potentially hostile positions. This was the breaking point they had anticipated, the moment when fear would drive the older species to try to contain what they didn't understand. But humanity had planned for this too. "I'm afraid that won't be possible," Elena stated clearly, her voice carrying through the chamber. "Earth's technology is not merely a collection of devices and methods. It is integrated into who we are, how we think, how we exist. We cannot share it because it cannot be separated from us." Her neural interface connected with Earth's quantum defense network, and she felt the subtle shift as humanity's true fleet decloaked across the galaxy. Not the small, primitive-looking ships they'd shown the Assembly, but vessels that defied conventional understanding of physics and space-time. "We chose to approach the Assembly openly, hoping to build relationships based on mutual respect and understanding," Elena continued. "We chose to help with the raiders when asked, despite the ridicule we had faced. We have demonstrated both our capabilities and our intentions through actions, not words." The Assembly chamber had gone silent as reports flooded in about the suddenly revealed human fleet. Ships that made the Assembly's largest vessels look primitive by comparison. Vessels that hung in space like silent guardians around every human world and installation. "Earth does not respond to threats," Elena stated firmly. "We are not your enemies, but we will not be coerced. The choice before the Assembly is not how to contain humanity, but how to work with us as true equals." As the chamber erupted in chaos, Elena felt a subtle alert through her neural interface. Earth's quantum sensors had detected something massive approaching from the galactic core. something that would make this current crisis seem insignificant. The time for hiding humanity's true nature was ending. Soon, the galaxy would need every advantage they could provide, whether they were ready for it or not. The neural network. Deep within Earth's Quantum Defense Command Center, buried beneath the Himalayan mountains, Dr. Elena Santos stood before a holographic representation of the galaxy. Red warning indicators pulsed near the galactic core, marking the approach of something that defied conventional detection methods. "What are we looking at?" Grand Speaker Vexthor asked, his scales shifting through shades of concern. The Assembly leadership had been evacuated to Earth after long-range sensors detected the approaching anomaly. Now they watched in stunned silence as humanity revealed the true extent of their technological advancement. The command center itself was unlike anything the alien representatives had ever seen. There were no control panels, no visible interfaces, just humans standing in seemingly empty spaces, their neural implants connecting them directly to Earth's vast quantum defense network. "We're tracking a mass exodus of stellar-level entities," Elena explained, her eyes distant as she processed data through her neural interface. "Something is driving them out of the galactic core, something they fear." Admiral Chen stepped forward, his consciousness merged with the tactical analysis systems. "The entities are moving faster than anything we've previously encountered. They're not using conventional FTL travel. They're quantum tunneling through space-time itself." The assembled alien leaders watched as the holographic display zoomed in on one of the fleeing entities, a being of pure energy that dwarfed solar systems. The sight sent ripples of fear through the gathering. These were creatures of legend, thought to be myths from the early days of the galaxy. "How?" Ambassador Krell's crystalline form trembled. "How can you track them?" "Our best sensors can barely detect their passage." Elena shared a knowing look with Chen. "The time for secrets had passed. Because we're not using conventional sensors. We're using the galaxy itself." With a thought, she expanded the holographic display, revealing an intricate web of quantum entanglement that spanned the galaxy. Billions of microscopic probes scattered through space over decades of human exploration, all linked through a neural network that mirrored the human consciousness itself. "You see your ships as extensions of your will," Elena explained. "We see the quantum fabric of space-time as an extension of our consciousness. Every human neural interface is connected to this network, allowing us to sense disturbances in reality itself." The alien leaders stared in amazement as the display showed the true nature of human technology. Their ships weren't simply vessels. They were physical manifestations of human thought, controlled through the same quantum neural network that now monitored the galaxy. "Impossible," High Elder Sullen whispered, its energy form fluctuating with disbelief. "The level of coordination, the processing power required, is achieved through unity." Captain Martinez finished, stepping into the chamber. "Not through artificial means or forced conformity, but through the one thing that makes humans unique in the galaxy, our adaptability." She gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show the human neural network in detail. Unlike the rigid, hierarchical systems used by the assembly species, the human network was organic, constantly evolving. Each individual consciousness contributing to the whole while maintaining its unique perspective. "We didn't conquer technology," Martinez continued. "We grew with it, adapted to it, allowed it to become part of us naturally. Every human child born today develops their neural pathways in harmony with our quantum network. We aren't controlling it. We're part of it." A sudden alert pulsed through the network, causing every human in the room to stiffen simultaneously. The fleeing stellar entities had changed course, their panic becoming palpable even through the quantum sensors. "It's accelerating," Elena announced, her voice tight with concern. "The disturbance of the core. Whatever it is, it's gaining momentum." The holographic display shifted again, focusing on the galactic core. The quantum sensors revealed something that shouldn't have been possible, a void in space-time itself, expanding outward, consuming everything in its path. By the first ones, Vexthor breathed, his scales black with terror. What is it? Something old, Elena replied, her neural interface processing vast amounts of data. Something that existed before the galaxy itself, and it's awake. Through the quantum network, every human in the galaxy felt the approaching threat. But unlike the panic spreading through the assembly species, humanity's response was coordinated, calculated, and immediate. We need to evacuate the core worlds, Chen announced, already coordinating with Earth's true fleet through the neural network. All of them, not just human settlements. We have the capacity if we reveal all of our ships. The assembly worlds don't have enough vessels for a full evacuation, Krell protested. Even with your hidden fleet, the logistics are impossible. Elena's eyes snapped open, a plan forming through the collective processing power of the human neural network. We don't need more ships, she stated. We need to teach you how to use yours properly, and we need to do it fast. The quantum sensors showed the void continuing to expand. Humanity had hidden its true nature out of prudence, revealed it out of necessity, and now would have to share it out of compassion. The galaxy's greatest crisis would require its youngest spacefaring species to become its teachers. And through the neural network that connected them, humanity stood ready for the challenge. Evolution's children. The void from the galactic core expanded with terrifying speed, consuming stars and worlds in its wake. Throughout assembly space, billions of beings watched their sensor feeds in horror as the ancient entity devoured everything in its path. But on Earth, in the Quantum Defense Command Center, humanity was preparing its response. Dr. Elena Santos stood at the center of a storm of holographic data, her neural interface processing information from across the galaxy. Around her, representatives from every major species watched in amazement as humans demonstrated the true power of their neural network. The entity isn't just consuming matter, Elena announced, her consciousness merged with the quantum sensor grid. It's consuming spacetime itself. Conventional weapons and shields will be useless. Admiral Chen's ethereal presence manifested in the quantum network beside her. The evacuation of the core worlds is proceeding, but we estimate only 72 hours before the void reaches the first major population centers. High Elder Xullen's energy form pulsed with despair. Then we are lost. Even with your hidden fleet, even with your advanced technology, how can we fight something that devours reality itself? Elena's eyes opened, a smile playing at her lips. By changing reality first. With a thought, she expanded the holographic display, showing the intricate web of quantum entanglement that humanity had woven throughout the galaxy. We've spent decades seeding space with quantum probes, creating a neural network that spans the cosmos. But we didn't build it just for communication and defense. Captain Martinez stepped forward, her consciousness joining the shared space of the quantum network. We built it to reshape space-time itself. Every probe is a node in the largest quantum computer ever created, the galaxy itself. The alien representatives watched in awe as humans across the command center synchronized their neural interfaces, their combined consciousness flowing through the quantum network. The holographic display showed similar scenes playing out in every human settlement and ship across the galaxy. Impossible, Ambassador Krell whispered. The energy requirements alone would be impossible for any single species, Elena agreed. But we're not going to do this alone. She turned to face the assembled aliens. We've spent the last 48 hours modifying your ship's quantum cores to interface with our network. Every vessel in the assembly fleet can become part of the solution, if you're willing to trust us. Grand Speaker Vexthor's scales shifted through complex patterns of emotion. You want us to link our ships to your neural network, to trust you with direct control over our entire fleet. No, Elena corrected. We want you to join us, not as subordinates, not as allies, but as part of a unified consciousness. Every species bringing its unique perspective, its particular understanding of reality, to bear on the problem. Through the quantum network, she shared humanity's vision. Not domination or control, but true synthesis, a melding of minds and technologies that would transcend individual limitations. This is why we appeared primitive when we joined the assembly, Chen explained. Not to deceive, but because we had evolved beyond the need for excessive displays of technological prowess. We learned to work with the quantum nature of reality itself. The void continued its inexorable advance. But now something was changing. Across the galaxy, ships of every species began linking to the human quantum network. Alien minds touched the unified consciousness of humanity for the first time, bringing with them new perspectives, new understanding, new possibilities. The Centaurians contributed their crystalline clarity of thought, the Meridians their multidimensional perception, the energy beings their understanding of pure force. Each species added its unique consciousness to the network, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. Elena felt the combined consciousness of the galaxy flow through her neural interface. Trillions of minds working in perfect harmony, each maintaining its individuality while contributing to the whole. Through their combined perception, the true nature of the void became clear. "It's not destroying reality," she announced, understanding flooding through the unified consciousness. "It's trying to reset it, to return the galaxy to some previous state of existence." "Can we stop it?" Vexthor asked, his own consciousness now part of the greater whole. "Better," Elena smiled. "We can help it evolve." Through the quantum network, the combined consciousness of the galaxy reached out to the void. Not with weapons or shields, but with understanding. The void was ancient, yes, but it was also alive, aware, and capable of change. The quantum probes humanity had seeded throughout space began to pulse with energy, not fighting the void but working with it, showing it the beauty of evolution, the power of adaptation, the strength of unity in diversity. Every ship in the galaxy, every neural interface, every quantum core added its energy to the message. The void paused in its advance, sensing something new, something it had never encountered in all its eons of existence. Not resistance, not submission, but invitation, an offer to join in the next step of cosmic evolution. Slowly, impossibly, the void began to change. Its destructive expansion transformed into a controlled metamorphosis, reshaping space-time not to erase what existed, but to enhance it. The combined consciousness of the galaxy guided this transformation, turning what would have been an apocalypse into a renaissance. As the crisis passed, as the void integrated itself into the new unified quantum consciousness of the galaxy, Elena stood in the command center and smiled. Humanity had hidden its true nature not out of fear or deception, but because some lessons couldn't be taught. They had to be experienced. They were all evolution's children now, taking the next step together into a future none of them could have imagined alone. The galaxy would never be the same. And that was exactly as it should be.